Hi guys, Alberto here. You're watching the Bedroom Rocker YouTube channel, and today is going to be a bit of a different video as I went to Japan for my holidays and I've done a bit of guitar shopping there and thought it would be cool to share my experiences with you. So we're gonna go through a couple of shops that I visited there, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience and also the gear that I've got. So make sure to grab a drink, sit tight, and let's go. My first stop was the Fender Flagship store in Harajuku Omotesando area, and this is a really cool place to stop even if you're not planning on buying anything. It's the first of its kind, and of course, besides selling new guitar and equipment, they focus on selling Fender or promoting Fender as a brand. They got 4 floors in total and a bunch of cool stuff to look at. And they also have a really nice cafe downstairs where you can park your friends or family members who might not be as enthusiastic about guitar. The first floor focuses on new guitar releases. They had some really cool new designs based on Japanese icons like the Great Wave, Mount Fuji, and of course Hello Kitty. Besides that, they had also some really cool special runs. And of course, almost half of the floor was dedicated to apparel brands, so merchandise and clothing, using their new slogan F is for Fender. The shop is really well staffed, everyone seems to speak English and be quite well trained to do their job. You can very easily ask them to try any of the guitars in the shop and they will very politely tune them and hand them over to you to try them out. For this purpose, there's a bunch of Fender Mustang micro amps hooked up with headphones for you to try them out. This is of course not as nice as playing the guitars through real amps, but at least you don't get the interference noise when many people are trying guitars at the same time. On the second floor, there's a proper soundproof room with a really nice selection of tube amps waiting to be cranked. So I think if you are really serious about buying a guitar there, you could probably ask to try the guitar in that room. Besides the soundproof room, the second floor also houses most of the serial production guitars, including both US and Japanese made series, a bunch of signature series, as well as some special runs. Here you also find all of the amplifiers, the guitar pedals, and also modelers. In the third floor things get a little fancier, the furniture is darker, the light is dimmer, and they really let the guitars shine because this is the custom shop floor. Here you get a really nice selection of guitars and basses from different master builders, and including some exclusive models for the Tokyo Flagship store. Finally, the basement houses the acoustic guitars, including the Acoustasonic series and the Fender Cafe that I have mentioned before. The prices here are absolutely standard, there are no special discounts or anything like that, but you do get a tax-free service which gives you around 10% discount on purchases above 5,000 yen. So I would recommend this shop if you are specifically looking to buy a new Fender guitar or a new Fender product, and otherwise if you just want to visit the shop, maybe buy some merch or simply check some cool guitars. Next is the Yamaha Flagship store in Ginza, and I should absolutely have left more time for this one as it is a 12-floor building entirely dedicated to Yamaha and to music. So besides guitar, bass, piano, drums, brass instruments, you also get music sheets and books, and you get a couple of different floors dedicated for music studios, for concert halls, and also a music academy. And then of course you have the brand experience and lounge with cafe and so on. I was only able to visit the basement, and here they have a really nice collection of acoustic and electric guitars, and also basses, drums, synthesizers, and recording equipment in general. They have a couple of stations where you can try out stuff with headphones, and they also have a really cool little room with real amps in case you want to crank stuff a bit louder. Here I was able to finally try out the famous Yamaha broadband bass, in this case the BB234, which is their entry level to the series, and it sounded really amazing and it's really good value for money. Prices here are more or less market standard as well, so no great discounts. I believe you can also get the 10% tax refund here. So if you're after new Yamaha instruments, I think it's a must visit. And if you're just walking around Ginza area, which is a nice shopping district, then it's definitely worth a stop. The next two stops are Ishibashi Music in Shibuya and Shinjuku respectively. Ishibashi is one of the most traditional music shops in Japan. They've been around since 1938 and are really well known for great selection and customer service. And their website is also pretty good and available in English, so it's a great place for you to start doing price research before the trip. The Ishibashi shop in Shibuya was great for their collection of high-end instruments, so of course they have also low and mid-tier ones as you would expect, but to me the really differential part was the sheer size of their collection of Fender custom shops, Gibsons, PRSs, and also high-end offering from Japanese brands like Ibanez and ESP. Here there was also a really cool collection of vintage pedals on sale. The shop was pretty well staffed and they all seemed pretty busy, so they were either tending to customers or making sure the instruments in the shop are all well set up and ready to play. Prices here are more or less market standard as well, but you can definitely get the 10% tax refund, which helps. So I'll definitely recommend checking this out. You're probably gonna visit Shibuya area anyway, and especially if you are hunting for a high-end instrument, I think that's the place to go, as you'll be able to try many different guitars until you find the perfect one for you. Next is the Ishibashi Shinjuku store, and it's actually quite different from the Shibuya one. It's a 4-floor building. The first floor was mostly dedicated to used instruments, and here they had a great collection of used electric guitars and some really compelling prices. So if you are shopping for used instruments, I think that's definitely a good place to come. The second floor was called Pedalholic, so it's entirely dedicated to guitar pedals, and often in Japan they are called Effector. And here there was a really incredible collection. Of course, all the standard big name brands, all the big Japanese brands like Boss and Ibanez, but they also had a really cool collection of different unknown brands with different designs. And I really wish I had had more time to try all of them out. But this is also where I made all of my purchases, because I wasn't planning on bringing a full guitar back home, but pedals are really easy to fit in the suitcase. Then on floors 3rd you have electric basses, and 4th floor you have electric guitars, and here you have a more, let's say, regular distribution between low, medium and high tier guitars, as you would expect in a guitar shop. The shopping experience is always great here, so I asked to try 2 different pedals. The guy asked me if I wanted a Strat or a Les Paul. I ended up with a Strat and a Hot Rod Deluxe, and the guy of course always sets up the amp and tune the guitar for you. And I was able to try the pedals at a relatively loud volume and ended up getting both of them. The first one is the Vemuran Genray Overdrive, and I definitely recommend you checking out Vemuran while in Japan because they are significantly cheaper than here in Europe. So I was able to get the Genray for 245 euros after the tax refund, and here in Germany they go for about 400 euros, so it was a really good discount. The second pedal is from a more unknown brand called Bananana. They only make weird sounding pedals, that's their thing. and I got the Matryoshka bass synth, which is a polyphonic bass synth, and it sounds weird as you would expect. Reviews coming up later. This pedal, I was able to get it for about 120 euros, and the list price if you would ship it is around 193 euros, so also overall a pretty good discount. Next is a chain of shops selling used hardware called Hard Off. They carry used electronics, toys, cameras, and most of them also have a section on musical instruments. I visited two of their shops in Akihabara district, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend a dedicated trip here, but if you are in the area, I think it's definitely worth a stop. The prices in these shops are what I would call reasonable, so don't expect to find any insane deals here. Their main business is to sell used hardware, so they definitely know what they're selling, and I think with eBay and Reverb, prices of used gear around the globe are more or less the same. So you'll be able to save some money by buying used gear, but don't expect to find a crazy deal on a vintage TS-808 or something like this. Compared to the proper guitar shops, the shopping experience at Hard Off is a little bit less premium, so the shop feels a bit tighter, there's more hardware piled up. You can still try out stuff, but there's not a dedicated room or a dedicated space and a nice selection of amplifiers for you to do so. I have one more honorable mention, which is a place called Ochanomizu Street. I unfortunately did not have time to visit this, but it's apparently some sort of guitar street in Tokyo. So I think here you have a large number of guitar shops in a relatively well condensed area, and it seems to be great for second-hand gear especially. Overall, the guitar shopping experience in Japan was really amazing. It's really nice to see how much this country loves music and love their guitars. I think it's quite common that people take music as a hobby there and socialize through music. So it was really cool to see groups of friends or even couples hanging out in guitar shops and just trying a bunch of different gear. It was quite refreshing. In terms of variety and selection, it's also amazing. So you get all the big name brands that you can easily access in Europe or in the US. But then you have this other high influx of Japanese designed and even Japanese made products, which tend to be of really good quality and at affordable prices. Then overall, in terms of the prices, because their currency, the yen, is relatively undervalued now, and because of this benefit of the tax refund, you can really find some great deals there. So definitely recommend it.